going live, doing the live thing. Let's find out how this works with timing. Welcome everybody back to WineShark Wednesday. It is I, your host WineShark. I hope everybody's having an excellent week. It is, well, hot here in North Texas. Like, it suddenly decided to be summer. One day, it was raining and raining and raining. And then it rained some more for another few days, and another few days after that. And then the heat came, and it boiled everything off, and it's been an interesting few days here with heat indexes in the hundreds. It is needless to say, summertime. So I hope everybody's having a good start to their summer. Time to get in the pool, enjoy yourselves. You saw the thumbnail image for this week, a nice beach in Portugal, because today's topic, we're going to talk about one of my favorite solutions to summertime problems, Vinho Verde. But before we get started on that, let's talk about what's new. I'm working on the newsletter to get out, because I haven't been doing the newsletter, and I felt bad. But there's lots of information that I've been working on, lots of things that I wanted to share. Specifically, we've got new dates for some of the online interactive Zoom meetings. And Zoom meetings are now going to be free, limited to 20 people, but free tickets. So all you have to do is worry about getting yourself some wine and joining me. The suggestions of the wine selections will still be posted are still posted there, so you can kind of do your own try along. But we're also going to experiment with formats that are a little more suggestive and collaborative. I really want to encourage our community participation and see if we can't get more of us to hang out, drink, and talk about wine. So maybe that little incentive will increase our attendance. I also ought to remember to move the damn mic over because, good Lord, nobody can freaking hear me. But anyway, hi, welcome. Look, I'm hearable. Hello to Mark and Betty down in Grapevine. Well, yes, also experiencing the heat. They're the folks not too far from us, so I hope you guys are staying cool as well and getting yourself some pool time. Anyway, so let's talk about Vinho Verde. Let's talk a little bit about this fun little Portuguese wine that is kind of I would call it a secret weapon. I mean, it's a secret weapon against hot weather. It's something that not a lot of people are familiar with until they start exploring wine, as it isn't generally a varietal that you're going to find in the grocery store. So this is going to violate our grocery store grab rules a little bit later, because this is something I actually picked up from Total Wine, but I'll explain why, because we wanted to kind of parallel what we're talking about with the topic. So Vinho Verde is a Portuguese denominazione origine controllata. It is a region, not a grape. Okay, so let's start off with that. It's actually in the Minho region of Portugal, and interestingly, it can be made, Vinho Verde can make wines that can be red, white, rosé, sparkling, and even brandy styles. Although most of what we see shipped and sold here is the very light, refreshing Blanco or Bianco style, the white wine that is produced in the region. Just understand that if you go searching for Vinho Verde, you're going to find a lot of information, but it's all mostly going to be about the type of where it's from, not necessarily what it's made from. But to answer that question, by the way, what is it made from? We're going to basically focus just on the Bianco and the white version this time. So it is usually made from Albarino and Loreiro grapes, although there are also grapes like Arinto, Aveso, Asal, Botaca, and Trajadura. Gotta get my pidgin Portuguese brain going there, but Trajadura is the other one. So most of the common one that I think most of us have heard of, and is largely the focus, is Albarino. And now it's Albarino in Spain with a B, not a V, but again, subtle differences between the languages aside, that light white grape is at the source of a lot of fun, warm weather, easy drinking wines, in my opinion. So, I also want to say hi. So there's Donna and Mary and David. Hello from everybody. So Donna, I'm sure in Dublin you're hot too, but Dave and Mary said that up in Minnesota they're hot, just not Texas hot. But still, summertime is definitely here. So anyway, welcome everybody. Glad you guys could join us. So the name Vinho Verde literally means green wine, but that's kind of it doesn't mean that the wine itself is green. It more translates to the idea of it being young. right? Or the idea of green meaning inexperienced. Green wine, in this case, which is the Bianco style that we're most commonly referring to, does tend to have a little hint. It's very, very pale yellow and might have a tiny hint of green in the actual coloration, which also lends to the idea that people think the wine is green. You will also often see from the bottles are often tinted blue. And when you get this blue tint to the glass, plus the yellowness of the wine, yellow and blue make green. So the wine appears a little bit green on the shelves as well. And I think this is part of their overall marketing and packaging program, because Vinho Verde has really kind of come a long way in the expression of inexpensive, highly accessible Portuguese wine, right? I mean, most people know Portugal as the home of port. And even the wines that are derivatives prior to port, like, say, Touriga Nacional, are big, bold reds. A lot of the Douro region of Portuguese wine is these big, powerful red wines. This is so completely opposite in the spectrum that I think they work very hard to market this. And once somebody discovers this, they usually fall in love right away with it, and kind of never really let go. So the wine is also ever so slightly bubbly. Effervescent is a word that is often thrown around. Originally, back in the day, this was caused by interbottle malolactic fermentation, meaning the wine was put in the bottle before fermentation had completed, and by kicking off the malolactic fermentation, the carbon dioxide had nowhere to go. So, like regular sparkling wines, it would become slightly bubbly. However, it also produced some excess sediment. And overall, it was a concern from a quality perspective. People had to be told that no, that normal fallout was natural, and so they decided to kind of stop letting that happen. They go through a full fermentation process now prior to bottling, but because of that reputation of slightly sparklingness, they now actually add carbon dioxide to the wines to give it just a little bit less than 1 atmosphere, 1 bar of pressure. So when you pour it in the glass, when you first open the bottle, you're going to see this slight little bubbling coming up there. You might see it caught up the sides of the glass. You might see a couple of streams. It doesn't classify as sparkling wine. It doesn't have quite enough to be there, but its effervescence adds to its refreshing qualities. So back to the Alvarinho grape and the style. What is the style of this wine, and why is it such a good summer thing? Well, number one, the Alvarinho is in the very light white category, right? So we're not talking about big, heavy, complicated wines that tend to come from this. In Spain, they tend to be a little bit softer or rounder, more floral, whereas in Portugal, they tend to be more acidic, a little bit more zippy. And of course, if that's going to be your basic starting place for your Vinho Verdes, it's going to bring high acid. It's got a fairly low overall, low residual sugar when it comes to in the wine. So the things are usually basically completely dry. There are other versions out there, but again, the mass-produced, mass-market versions that I've had are all bone dry. So you got this crispness, this bone dryness, and relatively low alcohol content. The example that we're trying today is just 11% alcohol by volume. I've seen ones in the 8.5 to 10 range quite commonly, which means these wines don't have a lot of extra weight. They don't have that mouth-warming feel that we get from higher alcohol examples. So what does that translate to? I mean, we got high acid, makes our mouth water, mid to low alcohol. We've got, not a big, sitting bold mouthfeel. We've got a very crisp and clean experience. We definitely live in the herbal and floral categories, or the floral fruit categories here, mostly bordering on citrus, lime zest, and things like that. And finally, we've got that, that lower. Sorry, where did I go? I went off my list there, and I didn't have this written down. This was improv. So we've lost the last little bit. We've got low alcohol. Low to no tannin, no residual sugar, high acid. It's a great food partner. It's very crisp and refreshing. Low ABV means, it's a great day drinker. So you're, a single 5-ounce glass isn't going to get you schnockered whether you're sitting next to the pool. So what's the other really secret about it? It's cheap. That's right. Vino Verde usually ranges in price from anywhere from $6 to $10. If you're paying more than $10 for your average mass market Vino Verde, you're doing it wrong. Or your winery, your wine salesperson is an evil little person who is trying to gouge you. This stuff comes inexpensive by the bucket load. Our example today was $8. I think when I did an internet search looking for the image, I saw one advertised for $5.95. I mean, the stuff is very much designed to be a annual drinker, just like things like Beaujolais Nouveau and rosés. They're made in their vintage year to be immediately sold and consumed in the next year. Now, I did read that there are some single grape and single vineyard Vino Verdes that are a little bit more serious in character, that are more towards the complex wine spectrum. They basically, their construction method is slightly different. So Alvarinho and Luriero are the two grapes that are primary kind of the stars in that program. So you can find some that are actual age-worthy wines. But once again, those are not what you're going to see at most stores that come around right now. This is basically a rosé competitor in my brain, because it comes along usually in the year right exactly when the rosés are hitting our shores from the south of France and across Spain, and even Portugal for that matter. So check it out. Excellent opportunities. We are now going to try some of this fantastic Vino Verde. This is Seastone. Let's switch over here. Bottle looks like so. It's got a little starfish on it, not to be confused with other wines that have starfishes on them, but this is Seastone Vinho Verde. So you can see there that in the picture you can barely see that the bottle's blue, but and of course the photo's been run through filter, but when you look at this wine up close, it actually does have that nice pale green color like we were talking about. So the grocery store grab. We're kind of breaking our rules a little bit here, because you're not going to see this at many grocery stores. If you do, if your grocery store has a reasonably capable wine section, this might be featured when you start seeing those rosés and summertime fare roll out. So keep your eyes peeled for it and don't be shy. But remember, the premise here is to get the best value per dollar for wines found at non-specialty and non-big box retailers. In this case, value is the number one thing with this wine. I mean, not only are all of its other virtues awesome, it is definitely in the value market. I mean, we're talking about, this is a sub $10 wine that I can wholeheartedly endorse as being worth, it doesn't get much better than that. You don't want to overpay for this wine, because this wine is so easily made and readily shipped that there's no reason for it to be expensive. Now, chosen without prior research. This is true. I had never tried Seastone Vinho Verde before. Wait a minute, no. Now, and I had a different Vinho Verde when I did the Portugal show. So no, I don't think I tried this before, which is the reason I picked it out. But I didn't do any research on it when I selected it. I selected it based on the fact that it literally had a starfish on there, and it was a brand I hadn't tried. So let's be truth in advertising here. What's in the bottle? Now, here's one of the things you're not going to see. Usually, you're not going to see the percentage of grapes and varieties of blend as we like to see here on the grocery store grab. I think that's just simply out of tradition as much as anything else. This is one of those things where it's very European in style. They're basically using the region as their reputation rather than particular grapes. We, of course, want to focus on the label. Right? Labeling on this, I chose it because I hadn't tried it before and because it had a neat label. But the back of the label does have good information on here. It does tell us that Vinho Verde is actually the Denominação Origem Controlada. It says that this is a region, not a grape. Okay, so that is a good indicator if we're actually reading the back of the bottle. It says, though, that this Vinho Verde is produced in the northern coastal area of Portugal, and it's a delicious, refreshing, fruity wine suitable for all circumstances and social events. Well, there you have it. You can go anywhere from the debutante ball all the way down to your semi-permanent above-ground pool party. Anyway, you're excellent as an aperitif and great to accompany cold meals, salads, and Asian cuisine. Serving temperature 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. 750 mils and 11% alcohol by volume. Bam. This gives us all the things, where the grapes grown, it gives us what the wine tastes like, flavor words that we can understand. They get bonus points for offering a specific food pairings. Notice that they said, cold meals. Emphasize that kind of emphasis on the idea of this is a great picnic partner, or anytime you're not warming up the food. Salads and Asian cuisine, although Asian cuisine is a pretty broad spectrum, and so is salads. It at least gets you guided onto the idea that if we think about leafy green things and herbal things in salads, that's awesome. But I would also say this can go well with fruit style and other vegetable salads that aren't necessarily based on leafy greens. It's got a lot of the properties that we're looking for there in that light citrus note, white flowers, all that, and all the things we said before with high acid, etc. Also, they even mentioned serving temperature here, right? That reinforcement, although it's in centigrade for those of us stuck in the United States and unable to think about how warm 8 to 10 degrees Celsius actually is, it's an important note that they're telling you, hey, here's how you want to serve this, and I love that. So very direct, really well written, and I cannot complain at all about what they're doing on the label. The only thing is, I personally would be curious as to the grape type, but such is the burden of the sommelier. So also very interesting on this is you'll see on the back of this label, they've got an actual sub-label on the back here that is a regional specific tax ID like number that guarantees that this is a seal of guarantee from that particular area. So it is not, it is not a knockoff brand, not just some plonk wine that they bottled and said this is from Portugal. Even though they're only selling $7 wine here, they're very proud of the fact, and they're making sure that they don't have rip-offs. So this selection was $8, and I found it at Total Wine. It can be found broadly available. It's not a Total Wine exclusive. It's kind of why I allowed it into the grocery store grab in the first place, is you can find this all over the place. So we want to answer 3 questions, and that is it well executed? Is it on style? And is it worth the price tag? Well, this is the good part. I guess when the bar is set kind of low for the price tag, you're in a thing there. So again, color here, it's nice. It's frosting up my glass very nicely because it is chilly, but we've got a nice pale yellow color, instantly telling us that we're probably on the light side of the wine scale, even if we didn't know it before. And the nose, as I said, is very much lime zest and white flowers, and maybe even a little squeeze of grapefruit juice. Right? It's not quite as intense as or as noticeable as like a Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, but it definitely has that citrus fruit category, all that citronellol in the terpene category, right? So from the aromas there, not really anything going in the soil or mineral category. No wood used in making this wine, so we wouldn't expect or want it there, and it certainly doesn't hit the piquant or spicy range. So mostly just in that kind of. I don't want to use monodimensional as a negative here, but it does have a pretty simple profile. This wine is designed to be a simple, uncomplicated, easy to drink. It's a Michael Bay movie with explosions and extended slow motion cuts, but that's all we're signing up for here. Okay, so. On the tongue, that higher lime rounds out a little bit more. It gets more fresh juice capacity, and it mellows. There's a little hint of saline that almost makes it. It's that margarita-like experience, like a watered-down margarita. But there's an intense burst of acidity. Makes your mouth, hits you right here in the salivary glands. Makes your mouth water all over. No palate weight to it whatsoever. It is. Even from a texture perspective, it's clear, water clear and nearly as easily drinkable, right? You don't even with that little hint of acidity, it's not overblown. It's not gonna stop you with that, oh my God, how sour this is. It's just enough to remind you without overwhelming you. And that's one of the reasons I think this is such a great quaffable wine. Higher acid examples in the light wine category, like say Sauvignon Blanc, like a lot of Pinot Grigios from the northern parts of Italy, like Pinot Blancs and Pinot Gris, even from the Willamette or from Alsace-Lorraine, they all tend to have a really stand up and pay attention to me acid profile. This is one of more of those, just, hey, here's what I'm all about, but I'm not flaunting it. So really, really well balanced in that perspective. But as we said, don't go looking for complicated here. There's really not much to it. After the burst of lime, there's not much of a finish to it at all. Yeah, lime and grapefruit really do come forward more once you get it on the palate. But then it lasts no longer than now. It's gone. Right now, it's just a little fading echo in my palate, and that was all there was to it. And that's something we can use, right? Remember that having a long finish or a big complicated body is a feature, not a bug. It's not a race. It's not a volume contest. Just because this has a very short finish, that's a tool we can use in our arsenal of food and wine friendly pairiness, and for the simple fact of I don't want to think too hard about my wine, right? I just want to sit back, enjoy it, and especially when it's hot, goodness me, this is a perfect example. So is it well executed? Absolutely. Is it on style? 100%. This hits just about as every Vinho Verde I've ever had, and I've been, I think I found this grape maybe I want to say about 20 years ago, and I've loved it ever since. So yeah, the Seastone is definitely living up to its guaranteed sticker on the back. Thank you to Portugal and all that. Is it worth the price tag? Dude, it's $8, $7 if you're going to get a mix 6, and hell, if it's even available for 6, winning. So you really can't go. I know I said you really can't go wrong with this wine. I almost said you really can't go wrong with that price, but the answer is oh yes you can. There's a lot of bad wine out there for $7. This is the example where it ain't one of them. Right? This is definitely something where your $7 was 100% well spent, and you throw 2 of them in your cooler, you go down to the pool, you hang out with your friends and family, you read a book and forget about the rest of your world for a few days. Well, I don't know, 2 bottles might not last you a few days. I'm just saying, it goes pretty easy. Anyway, all right. Any questions from the online crowd? If anybody has any about the Fast and Furious Vinho Verde review we just did there, go ahead and let me know. Also, while you're doing so, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming soon. So as I said at the top of the show, Zoom meetings. We're going to free Zoom meetings. Okay, Patreons, usually get a free Zoom meeting a month. Well, we're going to go to a once-a-month pattern. Everything's free. Patrons, of course, has access to the entire archive of recorded content, which is really what I'm doing it there. So we're all basically tired of Zoom meetings. Let's just freaking admit it. 2021 is here. Most of us are getting vaccinated. The country's coming alive again, and we're happy to be out and about. So the Zoom meeting attendance has obviously dropped off. And so rather than looking at that as a source of revenue, for me, it's a source of content. It's an expense. So instead, what we'll do is we will make it free and available to you. I want to see more bodies if I can, and hopefully we'll enjoy it. So the next 2 shows, we're also currently back to a Friday format because I don't have other obligations so far. So on 2 July, so begin your holiday weekend party with the 2021 Rosé review. I've got 6 different rosés I'm going to review. No, you don't have to buy all 6. You can pick one that you like, pick 2 that you like, get your own one for that matter. In fact, what I'd really love to see is, again, conversation and community is the focus here. I want to see other people's examples. Let's talk about the different styles of rosé. Yes, there are different styles of rosé, and I'm going to go through different countries. I've got wines from France, and I've got wines, I think, from New Zealand. I've got wines from Texas. I got wines from California and Oregon and Italy, and we're going to go, we're going to look around and really kind of see what the world has to offer with the infamous pink wine and convert more of you to the rosé all-day fad without actually turning you into a Karen. So it'll be a lot of fun on that. The 19th of July, we're doing beer and wine combined. 2 Penny Beer and WineShark appearing as your host at Reunion Tower. I made a post on Facebook about that links to the event, so go ahead and get your tickets there. And then we've also got Wine Styles Chile. When the Patreons gave us our feedback, Chile was the number 2 example after the Rosé review. That's going to be happening on 30 July. So you're actually getting 2 shows within July, no shows in January and June, but I'm going to start hitting that about 4. I want to do once about every 4 weeks. That's what I'd like to see. Then on August 8th, we'll have the Summer Splash Part 2. That is WineShark Solo down at Reunion Tower. I want to give a shout out and a thanks to the guests that joined us on Sunday. It was a beautiful example of how to wind down a week up at the tower. We had Summer Splash 1 was poolside wines. Summer Splash 2 is going to be wines for the grill, a recurring topic that is always popular, and we're going to be doing some wines that focus on grilled foods and grill friendliness, possibly with some grilled samples, because that's how we roll. So, any questions so far? No, everybody's happily drinking and enjoying themselves. So, a quiet crowd is either a happy crowd or a disengaged crowd. You be the judge. But anyway, I would love to say, in closing, have you discovered Vinho Verde yet? Go out and get yourself a bottle. Commit to that whole $8, and know that I give this gift to you in good health and in good faith. Go check them out. If you like what we're doing, like and subscribe to the channel. Share with a wine-loving friend. We are growing wonderfully. I can't thank all of our new to the channel subscribers and followers. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. And what I really want to see, as I said with the Zoom meetings, same thing applies here on YouTube. If you guys have got topics that you want me to talk about, if there's something, the subject matter or something that gets your curiosity, I want to know. I mean, I definitely want to be putting out stuff that's not just interesting to me, but it's obviously interesting to you as well. So I value your feedback. I value your comments. I read them all. And I'm more than happy to respond to those as well. So last, if you really like what we're doing, as I mentioned before, Patreons get a lot of fun benefits that are unique to the wonderful supporters that I have over there. Specifically, they get the entire library of recorded content from our Zoom meetings. They get special wine tasting notes, recipes, early access to ticketing and discounted products as well, plus Patreon exclusive events. So if you are of a mind so, support from there is always welcome, and you help keep this WineShark swimming in the right direction. But guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming and joining me. We've got, Mark's got to also have the Seastone. He says he's got the Seastone Vinho Verde. Excellent. So it might be. He said it's a good one. And I said, this is definitely one to try. But I could also recommend several others. In fact, hang on, watch this. We'll do this. We'll use the power of the inner tube for other Vinho Verdes that I have tried, and knowing that most of them are pretty darn awesome. Interestingly enough, it's kind of hard to screw up. It's amazing that for an inexpensive wine, the value proposition is so easy. Gazela Vinho Verde was the one that I did during the show, during the Light Whites show. I highly recommend it. It's all of $5 a bottle. I definitely know that Aveleda I have had before, again clocking in at a whopping $6.56. No, sorry, $7.29 before the discount. And Seastone, we said we were having here, and the other brand, Praia, Praia. These are all other ones. That one's a Total Wine direct one, but a very good one as well. And you might also see Nobilis. Nobilis Vinho Verde. That's another one that's theirs, not to be confused with Nobilo, which Nobilo is a New Zealand produced Sauvignon Blanc. Excellent choice, but not a Vinho Verde. Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank you all so very much for joining me. I hope you guys have enjoyed and have could survive the heat. The running joke about our infrastructure not being able to hold up under the heat or the freezing temperatures is really kind of making us roll our eyes at our powers that be. Really kind of frustrating. So, all right, well, guys, thank you all very much. Until next time, I've been your WineShark. Cheers. Man. Oh, yep. Nope. We now have a Laszlo. He knows that when I say cheers, it's time for him to go out, apparently. So, yeah. Okay. I know. Fine. I'm waiting to end the stream. Stop hitting that with your tail. I know you're very happy, but that's loud.